I'm Jake Miller, 36, a mechanic running a small auto shop in Round Rock, Texas, just a stone's throw from Austin's sprawl. My life was straightforward: wrench on cars, sip a cold Shinerbach, and come home to Sarah, my wife of 10 years. She was my high school sweetheart, the girl who'd giggle at my lame puns and make our modest ranch house feel like a castle. We weren't rich, but we were happy. At least, I thought we were. It was a Tuesday in June 2025, the Texas sun still roasting our cul-de-sac at 6 p.m. I'd gotten off early because a parts shipment got delayed, some supply chain nonsense that's been plaguing my shop for months. I pulled my beat-up F-150 into the driveway, expecting to see Sarah's silver Honda Civic parked as usual. It was there, but something felt wrong. A faint smell of smoke hit me, not the usual barbecue from a neighbor's grill, but something sharper, like burning paper. My gut twisted. I grabbed my toolbox from the truck bed, more out of habit than need, and crept around the side of our house, sticking to the shadows of the cedar fence we'd built together 3 summers ago. The backyard gate creaked as I pushed it open, and that's when I saw her, Sarah, kneeling in the grass, her blonde hair loose and tangled, tears streaming down her face. She was tossing photos into a fire pit, the flames licking at the edges of what I recognized instantly: our wedding album. The one we'd spent hours picking out at a little shop in Austin, the one with her in that white lace dress, smiling like I was her whole damn world. She was whispering a name over and over like a chant. Ethan. Ethan, each syllable hit me like a punch. My heart slammed against my ribs loud enough I thought she'd hear it. Ethan? Who the hell was Ethan? I stepped forward, my work boot snapping a twig underfoot. Sarah's head jerked up, her blue eyes locking on mine. Her face went pale as a ghost, like she'd been caught red-handed in a bank vault. Jake, she gasped, scrambling to her feet, you're home early. What the hell's going on? I growled, my voice low, barely holding back the storm brewing inside me. Who's Ethan? She stammered, brushing ash off her jeans, her hands shaking. It's nothing, Jake. Just old memories. I was cleaning out some stuff. But her voice cracked, and she wouldn't meet my eyes. The fire crackled, spitting embers into the dusk, and the smell of charred dreams choked the air. I stood there, frozen, knowing my life was about to change forever. And that's when I realized something was rotten in our marriage. Sarah tried to play it off, kicking dirt over the fire pit like that'd erase what I'd seen. She said she was decluttering, that the album was just taking up space. But I wasn't born yesterday. I knew the name Ethan, and it wasn't some random ghost from her past. Ethan Carter was my best friend back in high school, the guy who'd been my wingman at prom, who'd given a sloppy, heartfelt speech at our wedding, who'd crashed on our couch 3 years ago when his first tech startup went belly up. He'd moved to Austin after that, chasing some new crypto dream, and we drifted apart. Was that Ethan? I waited till we were inside, sitting at our chipped oak kitchen table, the fire pit still smoldering outside. Sarah was sipping chamomile tea, acting like everything was normal, but her hands were still trembling. Is this about Ethan Carter? I asked, my voice steady but sharp. She laughed, a quick, brittle sound that didn't reach her eyes. Ethan? God, Jake, you're paranoid. That was years ago. He's nothing to us. But her eyes flicked to her phone, face down on the counter, and I caught it. She was lying. I knew it like I knew the hum of a bad engine. I let it drop, but my mind was racing. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in our bed, Sarah's soft breathing beside me, and kept seeing her in the firelight, hearing that name. I thought about our first date, 17 years old, splitting greasy tacos at a food truck off South Congress, her laughing so hard she snorted when I got salsa on my shirt. She'd grabbed my hand and said, we're gonna be forever, Jake Miller. I'd believed her. Hell, I'd built my whole life around it. Around 2 a.m., I slipped out of bed and grabbed her phone from the nightstand. It was locked, but the notification screen lit up with a text from we need to talk. Now. No emojis, no context, just those words glowing in the dark. My stomach churned. I wanted to smash the phone, wake her up, demand answers. But I set it down, my hands shaking, and crawled back into bed, staring at the ceiling till dawn. I didn't know it then, but that text was the first loose thread in a tapestry of lies. The next day, I was under a Chevy Silverado at the shop, swapping out a busted alternator, but my mind was stuck on Sarah. She'd been off for months, late nights, hushed phone calls, always glued to her laptop. She said it was her marketing job, a remote gig for some startup she never named. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? She was Sarah, the woman who'd stuck by me when the shop nearly went under in 22, who'd brought me coffee at 3 a.m. during tax season. But Ethan's name and that fire changed everything. On my lunch break, I sat in my cluttered office, the smell of oil and metal thick in the air, and logged into our joint bank account from my phone. What I saw hit me like a sledgehammer. $15,000 gone, siphoned off over 3 months to some crypto wallet I'd never heard of. That was our savings, the down payment for the 3-bedroom we'd been eyeing on the edge of Round Rock, with a big enough yard for the kids we talked about. My chest tightened like I couldn't breathe. That night, I waited till Sarah got home. She walked in around 8 p.m., all smiles, carrying a takeout bag from Rudy's barbecue like nothing was wrong. I didn't smile back. "Where's our money, Sarah?" I asked, holding up my phone with the bank statement pulled up. Her face crumpled, the bag slipping from her hands to the counter. "Jake, I can explain," she said, tears welling up. She admitted she'd invested it with Ethan. Said he was running a crypto startup, something about a new coin called Eclipse Coin, promising 10x returns. "It's for us, Jake," she said, her voice breaking. "For our future. The shop's been struggling and I thought, the shop's fine," I snapped, cutting her off. "You didn't think to tell me? That was our money." She looked away, wiping her eyes, and mumbled something about not wanting to stress me out. "I wasn't buying it." "Show me the details," I said. "The wallet, the transactions, everything." She clammed up, said I wouldn't understand crypto, that it was complicated. I was pissed, but worse, I felt like a damn fool. Later, while she was in the shower, I checked her laptop, left open on the couch. She hadn't even logged out. There was an email from Ethan, not even hidden in a folder, the wallet's secure. "Don't tell Jake yet. We're almost ready to move." "Yet? Move?" Those words burned into my brain like a brand. I wasn't gonna sit around like some chump, twiddling my thumbs while my wife and my old friend played me for a sucker. I called Nate, a buddy from high school who still kept tabs on Ethan through Austin's tech scene. Nate said Ethan was a regular at a dive bar in East Austin, a grimy spot called the Rusty Spur, known for cheap whiskey and a jukebox stuck on Willie Nelson. I grabbed my keys, my blood boiling, and drove into the city, the neon skyline of Austin flickering against the night. The Rusty Spur was a dump, flickering Lone Star sign buzzing over the door, sticky floors that smelled of stale beer, and a mix of tech bros and old-school burnouts nursing their drinks. Ethan was at the bar, looking like he'd stepped out of a startup pitch deck, leather jacket, slicked back hair, laughing with a couple of guys in hoodies. I stormed over, my work boots thudding on the wood floor, and grabbed his shoulder, spinning him around. "What the hell's going on with my wife?" I growled, loud enough that the bar went quiet, all eyes on us. Ethan's smirk was like a match to gasoline. "Easy, Jake," he said, sipping his IPA. "You're out of your depth, man." His voice was calm, patronizing, like I was some kid throwing a tantrum. "You're screwing my wife, aren't you?" I shouted, stepping closer, my fists clenched. The bartender leaned over, ready to intervene, but Ethan waved him off. His smirk faded and he leaned in, his voice low. "Sarah's not just investing, Jake. She's in love with me." My world tilted. Everything, the bar, the neon, the hum of the jukebox, faded to a dull roar. I threw a punch, aiming for that smug face, but he ducked and my fist grazed a bar stool, sending it crashing. Ethan tackled me and we hit the floor, scrapping like teenagers, bottles shattering around us. I landed a hit to his jaw, but he got me in the ribs and we were still swinging when the bouncer, a mountain of a guy, hauled us both out into the alley. I stumbled to my feet, spitting blood, my knuckles raw. Ethan was dusting off his jacket, still smirking. "You don't get it, do you?" he said, but before I could lunge again, I saw Sarah's Honda peel out of the parking lot across the street. She'd been there, watching the whole damn thing. And then my phone buzzed with a text I wasn't supposed to see. The text was from my cousin Mikey, who'd been working at my shop since he got out of community college. "Yo, check Sarah's ring cam footage. You need to see this." "I'm sorry, man." My hands were still shaking from the fight, my lips swollen, but I pulled up the Ring app on my phone, standing in that alley with Ethan's taillights fading into the night. The footage was from last week, timestamped 2:03 a.m. Sarah and Ethan on our front porch, whispering like they were planning a heist. She handed him a flash drive, her movements quick, nervous. Then she leaned in and kissed him, not a peck, but a full-on, movie star kiss, her hands on his face, his arms pulling her close. My stomach lurched and I nearly dropped the phone. I watched it again, then a third time, hoping I'd seen it wrong. I hadn't. I called Mikey, my voice hoarse. "What the hell, man? You knew." He sounded guilty, his voice low over the phone. He admitted he'd seen Sarah and Ethan at a coffee shop a month ago, huddled over a laptop, talking about moving funds and keeping Jake in the dark. He kept quiet, thinking it was just an affair, not wanting to blow up my life. "I didn't know it was this bad, Jake," he said. I swear. I was livid, but I couldn't deal with Mikey yet. I drove home, the Austin skyline blurring through my anger. I was ready to tear into Sarah, but the house was dark, the kind of quiet that feels like a trap. Her laptop was gone, her purse too. On the kitchen counter under a half-empty bottle of Merlot was a note in her handwriting. "I'm sorry, Jake. I had no choice." I crumpled it in my fist, thinking about our happier times, our road trip to Galveston, her singing off-key to Springsteen's Thunder Road, the way she'd curl up against me on the couch during a thunderstorm. It all felt like a lie now, a script she'd been reading to keep me hooked. But sorry doesn't cut it when your whole life's a crime scene. I wasn't letting this go. Sarah wasn't just cheating, she was stealing, lying, maybe worse. I called Tim, an IT guy who'd fixed my shop's computers a few times and had a side hustle poking around the dark web. I sent him the crypto wallet address from Sarah's transfers along with a screenshot of Ethan's email. Tim called me back at midnight, his voice hushed like he was worried someone was listening. "Jake, this ain't just a startup," he said. "That wallet's tied to a rug pull scam, hype a fake coin, suck in investors, then vanish with the cash. It's moved $200,000, not just your $15,000. And there's more. The wallet's linked to something called Project Eclipse, same name as that DARPANET leak floating around." DARPANET? I'd heard whispers about it on X, some hacked government network leaking classified tech projects. Was Sarah mixed up in that? I asked him to dig deeper. Meanwhile, I confronted Mikey at the shop the next day, cornering him in the break room. He looked like a kicked puppy, his greasy overalls stained with motor oil. "Spill it," I said. "Everything you know." He admitted he'd overheard Sarah on the phone a few weeks ago talking about Project Eclipse and secure transfers. She'd been using a burner app thinking no one could hear. Mikey swore he didn't know details, but he'd seen her with Ethan at that coffee shop looking too close. I wanted to fire him on the spot, but I needed him to keep an eye on things. That night, I hacked into Sarah's iCloud with Tim's help, a shady trick he showed me using a phishing link. There was a file she'd downloaded from a DARPANET leak, encrypted, labeled Project Eclipse. Ethan's name was all over the metadata along with references to Eclipse Coin and a consortium. Was Sarah shacking up with a cyber criminal? Or was she one herself? I was pacing my living room, the TV droning some late-night infomercial when I heard tires screech outside. I grabbed my old Louisville Slugger from the hall closet and peeked through the blinds, my pulse hammering. My blood ran cold. It was Ethan's black Tesla idling in my driveway like he owned the damn place. The street was quiet, the cul-de-sac lit by a single flickering streetlight. I didn't think. I grabbed a tire iron from the garage, the cold metal heavy in my hand, and ran out yelling his name. Ethan saw me through his tinted window, his eyes wide, and floored it, the Tesla's tires squealing like a banshee. I jumped in my F-150 and gave chase, tearing through Round Rock's sleepy streets, past barbecue joints with their neon, open, signs dark, past strip malls and churches with signs preaching forgiveness. Irony's a bitch. My phone rang. Sarah, her voice frantic. "Jake, stop. It's not what you think. Please, just come home." "Save it," I snapped, hanging up. I was done with her lies. Ethan's Tesla swerved onto a side road, heading toward an abandoned lot near the old Dell campus, all weeds and cracked asphalt. I floored it, cutting him off, my truck skidding to a stop in a cloud of dust. He was trapped. Ethan got out, hands up, but that smirk was back, like he knew something I didn't. "She needed me, Jake," he said, leaning against his car. "You were never enough for her." I lunged, tire iron raised, ready to cave in that smug face. But Sarah's Honda screeched up and she jumped out, screaming, "Jake, stop." She was crying, her mascara running, her hair a mess. "I messed up, but it's not just an affair," she sobbed. "Ethan blackmailed me." She spilled it all right there in the lot. She'd started an OnlyFans account 6 months ago, desperate for cash when the shop's revenue dipped. Mikey, my own damn cousin, had helped her film and edit, keeping it secret. Ethan found out, hacked her account, and threatened to leak it to everyone, my family, her coworkers, our neighbors, unless she helped with his crypto scam. She'd funneled our savings into Eclipse Coin, thinking she could buy her way out. But it spiraled, and now she was in too deep. I felt like the ground was swallowing me. "You threw away our life for this?" I shouted, my voice echoing in the empty lot. Ethan just laughed, pulling a USB drive from his jacket pocket. "This changes everything," he said, tossing it to me like it was a dare. And then he got back in his car, like he knew I wouldn't touch him. I stood there, clutching the USB, Sarah sobbing beside me, Ethan's taillights disappearing into the night. She swore the USB had proof she was coerced, hacked emails, threatening voicemails, even a recording of some investor pressuring her to move the crypto funds. "I did it to save us, Jake," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "The shop was failing, and I thought the crypto would fix everything. Then Ethan trapped me. I didn't know what to believe. The shop had been rough, supply costs up, customers down, but failing? That was news to me. I thought about our vow renewal 5 years ago under fairy lights in our backyard, Sarah promising to love me forever. I'd rebuilt a '67 Mustang for her as a surprise and she'd cried when I unveiled it. Now, those memories clashed with the lies, her kissing Ethan, stealing our savings, running a secret OnlyFans with Mikey. Ethan's words echoed, "You were never enough." Was he right? Had I missed something, been too wrapped up in the shop to see her slipping away? I looked at Sarah, her eyes pleading, and felt a mix of rage and pity. I could turn the USB over to the cops. A crypto fraud case with DARPANET ties? They'd eat it up. Sarah might go to jail, Ethan too, maybe even Mikey for his part. But it'd ruin her life, her career, her reputation, everything. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. "Please, Jake. I'll lose everything. I know I messed up, but I love you." Ethan's smirk flashed in my mind, daring me to destroy them both. I clutched the USB, my hands shaking, torn between justice and mercy. And then my phone lit up with an email that stopped my heart. The email was from Tim, found the investor. "It's bigger than Ethan. Call me ASAP." I didn't call. I stood in that dusty lot, the Texas sky turning a bruised purple, the air thick with the smell of asphalt and regret. Sarah was still crying, her hands clasped like she was praying. Ethan was long gone, probably laughing somewhere, thinking he'd won. Tim's email hinted at a bigger player, someone tied to the DARPANET leak, maybe a corporate suit or a government spook. The USB in my pocket felt like a live grenade. If I turned it over, Sarah and Ethan might go down, but so could whoever was pulling the strings. It could crack the whole scam wide open, Eclipse Coin, Project Eclipse, all of it. But it'd also torch Sarah's life. She'd lose her job, her freedom, maybe years behind bars. And me? I'd be the guy who snitched on his wife, even if she gutted me. I thought about our 10 years, building a life in this sleepy suburb, dreaming of kids, laughing over burnt dinners in our tiny kitchen. I thought about the night we got engaged at a dive bar in Austin, her saying yes before I even finished the question. It was ashes now, like that wedding album in the fire pit. I looked at Sarah and asked, "Why? Why didn't you tell me?" "I was scared, Jake," she whispered, her voice raw. "The shop, the bills? I thought I was saving us. Then Ethan trapped me and I couldn't get out." Her eyes searched mine, begging for a shred of the trust we'd lost. I don't know if I believe her. I'm not sure I ever will. So, I'm laying it out for you, the folks watching this on YouTube. What would you do? Turn her in, let the truth burn everything to the ground? Or walk away, let her live with her guilt? Drop it in the comments, because I'm still standing in that lot, figuratively, the USB in my pocket, trying to decide. This is my story, raw, messy, and real. Thanks for hearing me out. Smash that like button, subscribe to Cheating and Chaos, and tell me, would you forgive her? Or make her pay? The next morning, I was back at the house, nursing a black coffee and a headache that felt like a jackhammer. I hadn't slept, hadn't decided what to do with the USB. Sarah was staying at her sister's place in Georgetown, said she needed space. Fine by me, I couldn't look at her without seeing Ethan's lips on hers. I was out front, checking the mailbox, when Mrs. Delgado, our nosy neighbor, shuffled over. She's a retired schoolteacher, always watering her roses and watching the cul-de-sac like it's her personal soap opera. "Jake," she said, her voice low. "I saw something odd last week. Thought you should know." My stomach tightened. "What did you see, Mrs. D?" She glanced around, like we were in a spy movie. "That man, fancy car, leather jacket, coming to your house late at night." Sarah let him in. I didn't want to pry, but... She trailed off, her eyes full of pity. I forced a smile, thanked her, but inside, I was seething. Ethan, sneaking into my house, while I was probably asleep or pulling a late shift at the shop. Mrs. Delgado's words stuck with me all day, fueling my anger. I went back to the ring cam footage, digging deeper. Sure enough, there were more clips. Ethan at our door, Sarah letting him in, always after midnight. One clip showed them arguing, her shoving a folder at him grabbing her wrist. It wasn't love, it looked like fear. But fear of what? That's what I needed to know. The OnlyFans revelation: I called Mikey to the shop that afternoon. Told him to meet me in the back office. He showed up looking like he hadn't slept either, his eyes red, his usual cocky grin gone. "You got one chance to come clean," I said, slamming the door. "What's your deal with Sarah's OnlyFans?" He flinched like I'd slapped him. "Jake, I swear it wasn't like that," he stammered. "She asked me to help with the tech stuff, setting up the account, editing clips. It was just side cash. She said you guys needed it." "Side cash?" I roared, slamming my fist on the desk. "You filmed my wife, Mikey. You kept it from me." I wanted to throttle him, but he looked so pathetic. I held back. He spilled everything. Sarah started the account last fall, posting tasteful stuff. Lingerie, flirty videos, nothing explicit. Mikey handled the uploads using his old MacBook, thinking it was harmless. "She made $5,000 in 3 months, he said, like that justified it. "She said it was for the shop, to keep you afloat." I didn't know what hurt more, that she'd lied, or that she'd roped my cousin into her scheme. Mikey swore he didn't know about Ethan until recently, when Sarah started acting cagey, deleting files off his laptop. "I think she was scared of him," Mikey said. Like, really scared. I kicked him out, told him to stay away from the shop till I figured this out. But his words stuck. Sarah, scared. I thought about the ring footage, her shoving that folder at Ethan. Was she trapped like she claimed? Or was she playing me even now? And then I found something on her laptop that flipped everything upside down. I'd kept Sarah's old laptop, the one she'd left behind before clearing out her newer one. It was a clunky Dell, mostly used for Netflix and recipes, but I figured it might have clues. Tim helped me crack the password. Some sketchy software he swore was mostly legal. Inside, I found a hidden folder, buried in system files, labeled ECL. It was a goldmine. Screenshots of crypto transactions, emails from Ethan, and a downloaded file from a DARPANET leak, timestamped 3 months ago. The file was a PDF, partially redacted, detailing Project Eclipse, a DARPA-funded blockchain experiment for secure data transfer, supposedly shelved in 23. Ethan's name was mentioned as a contractor, along with a company called Nexus Dynamics, a shady Austin startup tied to the Eclipse coin scam. One email from Ethan to Sarah stood out. "Nexus is watching. Move the funds by Friday, or they'll leak your of. I can't stop them." The date was 2 weeks before the fire pit incident. Another email, from an anonymous account, had a single line, "Tell your husband, and you're both done." My head spun. Sarah wasn't just cheating. She was tangled in something way bigger, maybe corporate espionage or worse. Nexus Dynamics wasn't some rinky-dink startup. X-Posts linked it to offshore accounts and hacked government servers. Was Ethan a mastermind, or just a pawn like Sarah? And who the hell was threatening her? I was about to call Tim when someone knocked on my door. 3 sharp raps, too deliberate to be a neighbor. I grabbed the bat again, my heart in my throat. I opened the door a crack, bat hidden behind my back. It was a woman, mid-30s, in a crisp blazer and jeans, her dark hair pulled into a tight bun. She looked like she belonged in a boardroom, not my cul-de-sac. "Jake Miller?" she asked, her voice clipped, professional. "Who's asking?" I said, keeping the door half closed. She handed me a card. "Lydia Chun, investigative journalist, The Austin Chronicle. I'm working on a story about Nexus Dynamics," she said. "I think you might know something about their activities." I didn't invite her in. "Why me?" I asked, my grip tightening on the bat. She glanced around, lowering her voice. "Your wife's name came up in a tip. Sarah Miller, tied to Ethan Carter and a crypto scam. I know about Eclipse Coin, and I've seen the DARPANET leak. If you're involved, I can help you. If you're not, you're in danger." I felt like I'd been sucker punched. "I don't know anything," I lied, my mind racing. How did she know about Sarah? Was she legit, or working for Nexus? I told her I'd think about it and shut the door, my hands sweating. That night I called Tim. He confirmed Lydia Chin was real, a reporter with a rep for digging into tech scandals. "But be careful," he said. "If Nexus is watching, you're on their radar now." I didn't sleep, wondering who else was watching my house. I met Lydia 2 days later at a diner off I-35, a greasy spot with cracked vinyl booths and coffee that tasted like regret. She slid into the booth across from me, a laptop bag slung over her shoulder. "Talk to me, Jake," she said. "What's Sarah into?" I didn't trust her, but I was out of options. I told her everything: the fire pit, Ethan, the crypto scam, the OnlyFans, the DARPANET file. I showed her a printout of Ethan's email, the one threatening Sarah. Lydia's eyes narrowed. "This is bigger than I thought," she said. "Nexus isn't just a startup. They're a front, laundering money through crypto for some heavy hitters, maybe even government contractors." She said the DARPANET leak had spooked Nexus and they were tying up loose ends. Sarah was a loose end. So was I now that I had the USB. If you go to the cops, Nexus might come for you, Lydia warned. But if you sit on this, they'll assume you're part of it. I drove home, my head pounding. Sarah called, left a voicemail. Jake, I'm sorry. I'm at my sister's. Can we talk? I'll tell you everything. I didn't call back. I was done talking. But I kept thinking about her voice, the fear in it. Was she a victim or a liar who'd played me from the start? Then I found a note slipped under my door and everything changed. The note was typed, no signature, back off, or the shop burns. No explanation, just those 6 words on plain white paper. My blood ran cold. I checked the ring cam, nothing, just static from 1 a.m. to 1:15, like someone had jammed it. Nexus? Ethan? I didn't know, but I wasn't waiting to find out. I called Tim, told him to copy the USB and hide it. Then I drove to Georgetown to Sarah's sister's place. Sarah answered the door, looking like she hadn't slept in days, dark circles under her eyes, her hair in a messy bun. Jake, she whispered, stepping onto the porch. I didn't think you'd come. Tell me the truth, I said, my voice hard. All of it. Or I'm done. She broke down, told me the whole story. The shop's debts had scared her and she'd started the OnlyFans to cover bills. Mikey helped, thinking it was a quick fix. Ethan found out, used it to blackmail her into funneling money through Eclipse Coin. But it wasn't just Ethan, Nexus Dynamics was behind it, using the coin to launder funds from the DARPANET project. When she tried to back out, they threatened to frame her for the whole scam, maybe even me. I thought I was protecting you, she said, tears streaming. I was wrong. I'm so sorry, Jake. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Cheating and Chaos, a place where you will hear a large number of fascinating and intriguing chronicles about hearts that are completely broken by female betrayal. Let's not drag on for long, let's get straight to the point. I wanted to believe her, but the lies had cut too deep. I showed her the note. Her face went pale. That's Nexus, she whispered. They know you have the USB. I had a choice, hand the USB to Lydia, let her blow the story wide open, and risk Nexus coming for us. Or go to the cops, turn Sarah in, and maybe save myself. Or do nothing, walk away, let Sarah face the consequences alone. I'm still deciding. So, YouTube, I'm asking you, what would you do? Turn her in, let the truth torch everything? Or walk away, let her carry the weight? Drop it in the comments, because I'm standing at a crossroads, the USB burning a hole in my pocket. This is my story, raw, messy, and real. Thanks for listening. Smash that like button, subscribe to Cheating and Chaos, and tell me, would you forgive her or make her pay?